Alejandra, Polcik, manager de proyectos hispanos aquí en Austin Community College. Estoy muy contenta de estar aquí con ustedes y conmigo está mi compañera y amiga.
And I'm Megan Diaz. I am the outreach specialist for Ascender, and it is so good to be here filming our second episode of Ready, Set, Ascender. For those of you who don't know, Ascender is a program at ACC for first-year students. So they'll receive their associate's degree, transfer to a four-year university, and then hopefully come back to ACC as an Ascender mentor or community leader.
This program combines accelerated instruction in English, academic counseling, writing assistance, and mentoring by members of the community.
And for those of you who don't know, Ascender stands for Achieving Student Confidence, Encouraging New Dreams, a name chosen just by ACC students. Also, we provide cultural events, academic events, and we just wrapped up one of the most major events of the semester, right, Ale?
Sí, acabamos de terminar los mentor and mentee matching y vamos a empezar las famosas noches de familia que nos encantan a todos. ¿Cómo estás, Megan? Platícanos, ¿dónde estás ahora?
Well, I know it's a bit of a different view from the last episode because, the lighting wasn't cooperating with me because that's, quarantine life, right? So I got to work with what I have. So right now I'm in the front patio, but you might be seeing me move a little bit and get a tour of the patio. So just giving you a little heads up.
Pues se ve muy bonito. It looks amazing, the area where you are.
Yeah, you'll get good views a little later.
Se ve hermoso, me encanta. Y la temperatura, ¿verdad? Está mucho mejor.
Yes, and it's cooler outside. It's finally not so hot where, we're just sweating buckets and buckets. It's pumpkin spice weather. It's spooky season. I love it. So it's definitely a beautiful day today. How are you, Ale?
Estoy muy contenta. Estoy muy contenta de estar con todos ustedes en este segundo capítulo. Como dices tú, es la temporada del cafecito calientito, del tecito calientito, o del chocolate. Entonces ahora en este episodio vamos a cubrir el Día de los Muertos y Halloween. Y finalmente es tu favorito, Halloween, y el mío es el Día de los Muertos, ¿verdad?
Yes, I love spooky season. The little bruja in me gets excited. So, it's definitely going to be a good time.
Sí, entonces vamos a cubrir información importante sobre estos eventos, estas fechas importantes en nuestras culturas mexicanoamericanas. Y le damos la bienvenida a toda la comunidad de Austin que nos ve, a todos los padres de familia, los jóvenes y no tan jóvenes, a que nos vean en YouTube y en el Spectrum Channel 19. Les damos la bienvenida a todos a este su show Ready, Set, Ascender. Vámonos a las noticias con ACC News rápido. ¿Qué tienes para nosotros, Megan?
So today I'm going to talk about a little bit about Halloween and the history of it because a lot of people, don't always know why we celebrate Halloween or how it came about. Then we're going to talk about Dia de los Muertos and go into that. But before, we talk about everything, Alejandra, do you have any plans for Halloween this year? Like, are you going to celebrate?
Megan, I am not so big in Halloween. I'm more in Dia de los Muertos, but my daughters are big on Halloween, and we like 80s movies. We like Freddy Krueger and things like that. So do you have any recommendations on Halloween movies?
Well, I'll tell you what, out here where I live, every once in a while, I think the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is going to pop out, Leatherface, and, something's going to happen. But yeah, I would say Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that's one of my favorites. And like I said, I love Halloween. I mean, there's so much to do, even though times are different right now. But again, just a little brief history about it. So actually, I don't know if you know this or not, but it came from a pagan festival called Samhain. And that means All Hallows Eve. And what that would come about was people would dress in costumes and they would go door to door in their, in their little village or their pueblo. And they would knock on doors to try to ward off ghosts and evil spirits and demons. So over the years that kind of evolved, people would dress up and still go door to door, but then they wanted a little something more like candy. So that's how trick-or-treating came about. And again, a lot of people forget about the meaning of it, but that's where Halloween came from.
Sí, para mí es muy importante porque después de Halloween sigue Día de los Muertos. Y el Día de los Muertos es celebrado en Latinoamérica cada día 2 de noviembre. Y en este día las familias se juntan y visitan los cementerios y recuerdan a los seres queridos que han pasado a otra vida en su viaje espiritual. Y en nuestra cultura no es un día triste porque se celebra la vida de esa persona. Y esta celebración es muy, muy, muy antigua. Empezó con los aztecas y mayas pero con la colonización se adaptó a una celebración con connotaciones religiosas. Y también se construyen altares. Les voy a decir un poquito en inglés para todos aquellos que no saben lo que es un altar. Un altar es en inglés se dice un shrine. And those are used to welcome the ancestor spirits into the home. It is also a practice to visit the ancestral burial ground to celebrate with picnics and music. So it's very common to see a norteño grupo or a mariachi or a solo guitar playing, remembering abuelita or remembering somebody who passed. If you want to celebrate Dia de los Muertos, one thing that you can do is build an altar, and it's very easy. You just have to have a photo of the loved one, plenty of flowers, include something that he or she like to drink, and also have papel picado. And if you want to have a better idea, like a general idea of what this celebration means, you can watch Coco, because I know Megan likes Coco, right?
I do. I love Coco. It's such a good movie. It's so colorful and vibrant, and it really gives people a good idea of what the Mexican culture is to celebrate Dia de los Muertos, and just, again, to see a little bit of what we do and how we do it. So, but have your tissues ready, because I didn't the first time I watched it, and I regretted it.
Van a llorar.
So definitely have
Claro
your tissues
que sí. And if you're not interested in doing that, you can also visit some exhibitions virtually. The Mexicarte Museum of Art, the link is provided. You can visit that exhibition. It's very interesting. Or you can go in person, of course, remembering the protocols, wearing a mask and taking safe distance, so you can celebrate Dia de los Muertos safely.
Yes, and next year, hopefully, if everything's back to normal, Mexicarte also hosts a citywide parade called Viva la Vida, which is amazing. You and I have gone, Alejandra, and it's full, again, of just calaveras and colors and just all kinds of different stuff, classic cars. So definitely check it out next year if everything's back to normal. I don't think you'll regret it at all.
No, y en este momento queremos recordar, en este año han pasado muchas celebridades que recientemente, por ejemplo, la juez de la Suprema Corte de Justicia, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, falleció, el actor de Black Panther, pero también tenemos héroes locales, y que pasa que uno de estos héroes es tu tío, ¿verdad, Megan?
Yes. So although Dia de los Muertos is such a beautiful and cultural day, it can also be bittersweet, for those who have recently lost someone. And we recently lost my Uncle San Juan Limon, or also known as Uncle Johnny Limon. And that's just what he was, Ale. He was a saint. This man was the most giving, most empathetic, most loving man that I've ever had the honor of knowing. He was a lifelong volunteer for Meals on Wheels. He volunteered for 25 years for Meals on Wheels. He was Big Brother of the Year for Big Brother, Big Sister. He was, I think, involved in that for 8 years. He was part of Poder Austin. He was part of the
Una persona muy generosa, ¿verdad? A very generous man.
Yes, very generous, very giving and selfless. And he was even the caretaker of his mother, I think, even before I was born. I mean, my whole life, he was the caretaker of my great-grandmother. So he is someone who is just so exemplary in not just the East Austin community, but in all of Austin, all of the state, I feel. And I really want to encourage others during these times right now, because things are so difficult and scary and just hard, to give your time, to give, whatever you can, whether it be money or food, just your time means everything.
Time.
So, yes, and to continue his legacy, I would love to encourage people to donate to Meals on Wheels, or to, volunteer for them. Big Brother, Big Sister. Of course, you can be a mentor for Ascender. That's another great way to give back.
Muy buena.
And another huge thing about my Uncle Johnny, which I loved about him, is he was such an advocate for voting. He made sure to tell everybody that you have to exercise your right, you have to vote. I mean, your vote counts, it matters. So I definitely encourage you all to look at votetexas.gov. Early voting is October 13th through the 30th. And definitely check out the Travis County website as well. They talk about wait times, voting locations, which is great. That way you know what to avoid. You know what to expect. So definitely check that out. And again, I encourage everybody to just give a little, be a little bit more selfless, more empathetic, because the world can use more kindness right now, and we can all be like my Uncle Johnny. So.
Claro que sí, vamos a ser más conscientes de nuestras responsabilidades civiles y de nuestra obligación y de nuestro derecho de votar. Entonces, a toda nuestra comunidad hispanoparlante, los invito a que participen en estas elecciones y ejerzan su derecho a votar. Por favor, si necesitan más información sobre cómo votar, como lo dijo Megan, en las páginas de internet de Travis County o también en la página votetexas.gov pueden encontrar información sobre cómo votar, a dónde ir a votar, o en la página que mencionó Megan pueden incluso saber las listas de espera, qué tanto les toca esperar en la línea. Pero si ustedes votan en temprano, a partir del 13 de octubre se pueden ahorrar las líneas. Entonces los invito a todos a que seamos responsables y seamos unidos y responsables con nuestra comunidad votando.
Ahora, este segmento se llama Students in Acción y hoy nos acompaña David Perez.
David is an Ascender student who plans to be a paralegal, but he has a special talent for makeup.
Hi ACCTV! In today's video, I'm going to show you how I do a little eyeshadow look. I already have my little eyebrows in place. Put a little product in there. Tap it out and then put it on the top right here. I usually start like this. I don't press in because if you press in, then the whole part is just gonna be like, you're gonna have a little chunk right there.
Muchísimas gracias por venir a nuestro show, David. Queremos saberlo todo de ti. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? What do you like to do outside of school, etc. Déjanos saber un poquito de ti.
So, nací en Veracruz, Mexico, and I came here to Austin, Texas when I was 3 years old. And since then, I've been here, and I'm going to college now. I finished all my school here, my schooling.
¿A dónde fuiste a high school?
I went to Travis, William B. Travis.
Ah, ok, perfecto. ¿Qué te gusta hacer aparte de la escuela? What do you like to do outside of school?
It depends. I like to participate in protests. I like the environment. I like helping out. I like doing community things. For fun, I like to hang out with some friends, go out, go on trips, take solo trips sometimes.
That's awesome, David.
I didn't know that you were an activist, so you like to be
Yeah.
Political activist.
Since high school, around sophomore year, I think they told me about like, oh, you're able to leave like school if you want because it's like our rights. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm like for sure going. So I left and we went to protest when the current president got elected. I went, I was like there with my friends, and then I went for the Black Lives Matters movement. I went for the DACA. I went for the environment. I recently went for the environment for a professor in college. She gave us a flyer, and I just went with some friends in college.
Wow, that's interesting. We prepared some questions. I know that you have other talents. Megan, do you have a special question for David?
I do. One thing that I first noticed about David was that don't get, all big-headed, David, but you're beautiful. Like you do your makeup so flawlessly. Like I'm jealous of you because I'll be very honest, I can't do my makeup like you.
Me neither.
So, that's one thing that I love about you is your talent for makeup and how good you do it, how flawless you do it. So tell me, what got you interested in doing makeup and how long have you been doing it for? Because you seem like a pro at it.
So funny story. What actually got me started was my best friend Alex from high school. She introduced me to how to do my eyebrows. So I was like following her. I remember she was at my house and we were like facing like each other, and she was like, "Okay, you're gonna grab it. You're gonna go like this, and you don't want to go like boxy. You want to do it like on the same shape of your natural brow. Just try to fade it in. Try to look nice." And then I also remember when I was a kid, I used to see my mom and my middle sister. My middle sister, she used to wear makeup all the time. So I would like watch her. I remember when we used to live all together in this like apartment, I used to watch her do her makeup, and it was like watching YouTube live in my bedroom. It was crazy.
How does it make you feel wearing makeup? Does it make you feel more confident? Does it allow you to express yourself differently?
Honestly, it kind of does give me a little boost. But if I don't wear it, I won't go out or anything like that. Most of the time I'm barefaced, Pero it just gave me a little boost para que, try to feel good and pop out there. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Do a little hair flip every now and then, right? I love that. I love that it makes you feel good. I mean, whatever makes anybody feel good, I'm always for, so I love that you do you and wear your makeup, David.
Okay, David, platícame un poquito. Tell me a little bit about what are you doing in your video and what recommendations you can give us about what you're doing, like the eyebrow and the eyeshadow.
Okay, so 2 recommendations I would say is buy an eyebrow dip si no quieres hacer la forma de la brow and like shade it in y tomar el tiempo en concealing it. Buy an eyebrow dip y después lo más you just brush it up with the product y te dará una más like natural
Definition.
tint, eyebrow. Y después para tu eyeshadow, I would say put some concealer first para que el powder se quede más pegado y no se vea se mueva o no se vea tan light. It just makes it run more smoothly.
So now, like, getting back to the academics and everything like that, you told us where you went to high school and, that you love to be part of protests and everything. So tell us about what you're studying and what you plan to do for your future career.
So at the moment, I'm studying paralegal. I just took a few classes for it. So I can't decide if I'm really like into it or not. At this point, I am. I feel like it helps me understand a lot better. And if I decide to change in the future, I would probably go with like schooling, like teaching like little kids.
You are into the humanities area, o sea, algo que sea humanidades totalmente.
Yeah, me encantan like little like children. I feel like children are so smart, are so engaging, ahorita children are like really, really super duper smart.
Y now that we're talking about Ascender, a ver, platícanos de Ascender. What do you enjoy most about Ascender? And then you can say it in English y si pudieras decirlo en español también.
Okay, so my favorite part about the Ascenders program is how comfortable it was during the switch from high school to college. It helped me reduce the anxiety and the scariness of like that every college student, like freshman student has, like transferring to a college. So it helped me reduce that. También it helped me agarrar amigos from college. Like I met Josie, I met Jocelyn, they were amazing, Amy.
Say hi to everybody.
I had amazing memories with them. Like they're wonderful. My freshman college experience because of Ascender, it was amazing. Honestly, like I wouldn't see myself going to a 4-year college as a freshman and like not feeling this comfortable.
Yeah,
definitely.
el español.
Okay, so lo que me gustó más de Ascender fue cómo me ayudó mi primer año as a freshman y cómo hice amigos y amistades y memorias, like wonderful memories con los chicos que conocí.
Sí, me acuerdo, tenías muchas amistades, eras muy popular.
He really is. David would make everybody laugh in class whenever I'd go visit.
Oh, yeah.
He was definitely, a leader. And that's what I love about you, David, is that you are a leader, that, you're yourself. So don't ever change in that way, always just be you.
Sí.
And last but not least, speaking about Ascender and, because we're at ACC, what does the term ACC is for everyone mean to you?
No matter where you come from, no matter your age, no matter your race, no matter your background, you're always going to be accepted at ACC by everyone. Counselors, teachers, professors, whatever it is. They're always welcoming everyone.
Eso es muy bonito.
Yes, I'm glad you had that experience with ACC. I'm glad you felt welcome. I'm glad you felt included, especially within Ascender. That's what we always try to do, is make students feel included. And we celebrate diversity because, it's beautiful meeting people from all backgrounds and cultures. So I'm glad you felt that from Ascender and ACC.
Sí, muchísimas gracias por compartir tu experiencia, tus pensamientos, tus ideas con nosotros. Las apreciamos mucho porque nosotros queremos tener gente de toda, con talentos, con virtudes. Como tú eres una persona con un gran imán. ¿Sabes qué es un imán?
Sí.
A magnet. you're magnetic. Entonces, eres una persona que estabas siempre en todos los eventos, estás siempre presente en todo, eres muy responsable, aplaudimos tu éxito y pues no te pierdas, sigue en contacto con nosotros aquí porque once an Ascender, Megan.
Always an Ascender. So thank you so much, David, for being here today, for sharing a little bit about yourself, showing off your makeup skills, because, people like me are jealous, but it's all right. And if you have a special talent like David that you want to showcase, please don't hesitate to contact Ascender at austincc.edu.
Sí, como lo acaba de decir Megan, si tienen un talento especial que quieren compartir con nosotros o con la comunidad y están en ACC, o sean estudiantes de Ascender o no estudiantes de Ascender y quieren compartirlo, por favor escríbanos a ascender@austincc.edu. Estamos muy curiosos de conocerlos y ver sus talentos.
Okay, so due to the Texas weather and with it being so up and down, I decided to come inside because I couldn't take the heat anymore. So please ignore the background, and we're going to start with our last segment of the show, En Un Día. And this is where we get to show off some of our amazing students, faculty, and staff that we get to work with on a daily basis. And Alejandra and I are super lucky to work with this specific individual. Her name is Dr. Lillian Huerta, and she is an Ascender instructor for us.
Vamos a darle la bienvenida a la doctora Huerta, una estupenda profesora de Ascender. No puedo esperar para aprender más sobre lo que pasa en un día en su vida. Vamos a verlo.
Hi, I'm Professor Huerta, and I teach for the Department of Student Development and for Humanities at Austin Community College. And we are standing out here in front of my favorite food truck in San Antonio, Texas.
Okay, there's your falafel.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy.
So here is a glimpse into one of my favorite foods, falafel, Iraqi style, with my hummus and mis pepinos, which are so good. Once you learn to read, you will be forever free. Frederick Douglass. Aside from volunteer work and other things that I like to do, I love to read. I started reading when I was around the age of 4. I grew up in a very low socioeconomic status background, basically grew up poor, and so I didn't get to travel like most of my classmates did. And so what I did is I basically traveled the world by reading. And I would read books, especially books that are by different authors from different parts of the world. I love seeing how the other parts of the world live, what they're going through. What I found is pretty much the human struggle is a human struggle. And so one of the books that I'm reading right now is Children of the Land, a memoir by Marcelo Hernandez Castillo, courtesy of Ascender. We are reading this with our students, and it's a very exciting read, and it's all about immigration and things like that impacts the family, and it's just a really fascinating read. My favorite authors, Toni Morrison, Sandra Cisneros. I mean, I could just go on and on. I can't tell you, I read every genre. I will read anything from comic books to romance novels to books on true crime. Anything I can get my hands on, I'm gonna read. And that was just a habit I've always had. And thank goodness I've had that, because little did I know how far I was gonna go in my education. And reading is such a skill to have. So one of my other greatest hobbies and passion is doing volunteer work, especially with wildlife. I usually will come out to parks and I will rescue ducks, especially people who are out here fishing and they get hooks in their little feet, and I will try to grab them and take them to the wildlife. So that's what I do. It's one of my biggest passions. I feel like, we got to live in harmony with one another. We also got to treat our animals well as our trees and our environment. So that is a big passion of mine as well. So people, I am part of Ascender. I'm one of the faculty members and a very proud member of Ascender. And what I love about Ascender is it is familia. It is comprised of all people from all walks of life, different cultural backgrounds, all of that. And it's just wonderful. It's a diverse group of scholars, of professors come together, administrators, staff, who come together and want the best for our students. Ascender has value in family, and that's why I'm part of Ascender. I think it's very important to be part of family, especially as you're going through the journey of getting your education. That is so important. The struggle is inner. Chicano, Indio, American Indian, Mojado, Mexicano, immigrant Latino, Anglo in power, working class Anglo, Black, Asian. Our psyches resemble the border towns and are populated by the same people. The struggle has always been inner and is played out in outer terrains. Awareness of our situation must come before inner changes, which in turn come before changes in society. Nothing happens in the real world unless it first happens in the images in our heads. Gloria Anasaldúa, one of my favorite authors of all times, and she does talk about cultural identity, and in particular, and so when I'm addressed and when I'm asked what it means to be Latina, I always look at the political term that is applied to me. I like to consider myself mestiza, indígena. I'm a mixture of all three races, Asian, African, and Caucasian, and I acknowledge that. And so, once you acknowledge who you are and you understand your history and your past, you develop a deep appreciation for that and a deep respect for your culture. And so anybody who's trying to learn more about who they are, read what's been said about you, look around you, take in your experiences. That's what shapes you, your values and your beliefs. What did you grow up thinking and believing? What would you like to change? Speaking Spanish does not make you any more something than not speaking Spanish. And I always tell students when they ask me, I want to be more Mexican, or I want to be more Latino, I want to be more Puerto Rican, or I want to just be more of my culture. And I always say, well, start with knowing who you are, what your story is, what has been said about your people and about where you come from. What is it that you would like to know more about? Start with education, start empowering yourself with knowledge. So, again, this is a process that's lifelong. But immerse yourself, begin with knowledge, begin by reading and discovering who you are, where you've come from. And once you know that, you develop an appreciation and a deep respect.
Muchísimas gracias por ver este episodio de Ready, Set, Ascender con nosotros. Para cerrar, les recuerdo que visiten la página de internet de Ascender para informarse y aprender. Y por supuesto, visiten la página de ACC, www.austincc.edu. Y recuerden que ACC puede ayudarlos, porque en ACC empiezas aquí y llegas lejos. Lo digo en serio.
Thank you so much, ACCTV, for filming the second episode of Ready, Set, Ascender. Please share this episode with those you know, and if you're interested in being featured on our show, feel free to contact Ascender at austincc.edu. We also want to remind you that you can watch this show and many others on ACCTV's broadcast channel, Spectrum Channel 19.
Also, be sure to follow Ascender on our social media channels for updates and to stay in touch with us. Nos vemos. Hasta luego.
Nos vemos. Happy Halloween.